Why did they take this drastic step? The question is not just about these two. More than 70% of those who die by suicide in India are men. What is the reason behind this high and rising number of suicide cases among men in India? We explore in this episode of the Y Axis. Hello and welcome. You're watching Happiest Health. I'm Revati.
"22-year-old Doresh lost his mother when he was only 9 months old. That was only the beginning of his sufferings that led him to attempt suicide 6 times.
Father got another marriage and he left me alone, and he may added me to hostel or something. He left me alone. And I feel every time I am alone, no one is there for me. And a lot of members said that just because of you, your mom died. Said you are an unlucky person. So every time I feel that I'm unlucky, I want to die, I don't want to live more, I don't want to die. At that age only, I just feel that I want to die, I don't want to live more. When I'm 16 years, I attempted first time suicide. And when I'm 17 years, I came to Bangalore and I went to some garage or something. At that pandemic time, I attempted to suicide 4 times. So I don't have food, I don't have shelter, nothing is there for me when this pandemic is there. I'm sleeping in some container or something.
A friend helped Doresh work as a delivery person. Soon, he was robbed of his phone and other belongings. Doresh tried to kill himself again. With a friend finding him in time, he survived. Family problems and health issues remain the prominent reasons behind suicides in India. Owing to these 2 reasons, the male to female ratio of suicides has increased from 1.9 and 2.5 to 2.4 and 3.2 respectively during 2014 to 2021. There was a 107.5% increase in men citing family problems as the reason during this period, compared to 58% in women.
Men not seeking help at the right time happens all over the world. Men perhaps do not recognize the symptoms of depression or the signs of distress, so they might not notice the fact that commonly what is experienced, like feeling low in mood, the lack of energy, impaired sleep, loss of appetite, lack of concentration, inability to get on with life, emotionality, and very typically among men is the sense of irritability, becoming more angry as signs of depression. People around them would have noticed. They might have even advised them to seek help, but they shy away from seeking help. The biggest reason why men definitely do not want to seek help is the societal expectations that men ought to be strong.
The most common things that they say is that no, I'm not an emotional person. I can handle, I'm really strong. The way men cope also is slightly more different. So you can see that they have more physical health issues. They try to cope with their emotional, difficulties using drugs, using alcohol, smoking.
These coping mechanisms, in turn, put men at a higher risk of certain psychiatric illnesses compared to women. In 2021, the suicidal death rate among men stood at 34.6%, compared to women's 13.1%. The emergency wards of 5 state-run hospitals in Bengaluru received close to 7,000 suicide attempt cases in the last 18 months alone, a majority of them being men. This man in his 30s called a helpline and reached out to an NGO in Karnataka when he was experiencing emotional distress. He was going through a marital dispute. He says his friends or family did not seem to understand him.
What was happening during that time, the daily routine gets affected. Okay, you'll not food haven't, otherwise either you'll have stress eating. I was eating chats, coffee, and you can't focus on work basically. So luckily, at least I've heard people, they've lost jobs and all, but luckily my manager was supportive. When I come to Purvatra, they told that speak to your manager about this. There is a community. There are other people who are, fought it, and they know the actual thing, and they suggested me. And the main focus was your mental health focus. They were telling, do your exercise, do your meditation, focus on your work. Okay. Otherwise, what happens? You go sleepless. I mean, it drives you towards the unwanted, like maybe you end yourself or something. But those thoughts have come to me, and that was like you know, if see no solution, you go towards that. But luckily for me, this counseling helped. I was doing my marathon, and 2021 I did my 50 kilometers. So that was, I mean, that is the proof I wanted to share, because I know the marathon thing. It's a very mind thing. Okay, if your mind is not good, you can't run. I was participating in amateur MMA also. That also I stopped, but I want to continue it again. But marathon thing, I just recovered.
This helpline, SIF1, has received over 4 lakh calls in the 10 years of its existence, mostly from men facing mental distress. While married men and unmarried men have similar suicide death rate, married men had a significantly higher suicide death rate compared to married women. Among many other helplines nationwide, the National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences houses a team that tracks and follows up with those who have survived suicide attempts. Like Doresh, who has been receiving help since his last attempt a year ago. He was helped by a doctor at the last hospital he was admitted to.
She helped me to buy some phone, and she gave some good words, and she cheered up me, and she said a lot of things to me. She treated me like a mother. At that time I got to know we want to expose ourselves, we want to tell what our suffering, what we are doing, and one person will help me, and we can come back and we can do better. I feel shy about myself. Why I did like this? Life is too good. I just want to keep a hope about life. Hope is everything. So I just did a wrong decisions. It's just a wrong thing. I don't ever want to do that. And it's very ugly thing to do. I never do that again. But you can start from scratch. Now I'm working as a delivery boy. I'm living very good life.
There is an increasing number of men who are now seeking help. However, experts say that it is not a widely seen change.
It's very promising to see that men, particularly young men, do approach these days seeking help for their psychological or mental health and well-being. I still think this is more of an urban phenomenon, partly driven by the culture where young men are working in more corporate sectors where they're supported, or their mentors or managers would have advised them that he or she would need time off work. And sometimes I have even seen young men come with specific requests from their HR department to have a psychiatric assessment to return to work. These are all very good things. So definitely the culture is changing. I've even had many young men who have walked in and said, "Doctor, not only I am suffering from depression or suicidality, but I think I also have ADHD, which was not treated as a child." Young men these days are also not shy about disclosing traumas they have experienced during their formative years. It could be abuse, it could be bullying at school, or relationship breakdowns. Body image issues are as common in men as they are in women. And also issues around social presentations, social skills. So a lot of issues are now becoming more, youngsters are more mindful of these issues these days. So I've seen an important change where men come and kind of sit down and they want to talk and seek help. But again, there's still a big resistance in terms of actually accepting them that they need to work through with a therapist for these issues.
Studies have shown that those who survive a suicide attempt are likely to repeat the attempt. However, the repetition rates are grossly underreported for various reasons. A man who survives a suicide attempt may not reveal that it was suicide due to shame. Although suicide has been decriminalized, it is still registered as a medico-legal case in India, which means the survivors could fear possible legal repercussions. And lastly, those who attempt suicide may unfortunately die and never make it to the record. However, interventions can bring down this number. The key is to notice the signs. The challenge is that the signs are not always obvious, and change can take time.
You do not need a reason to be depressed. There have been cases where I have seen young men commit suicide when there's really no reason for them to be depressed and to commit suicide. Depression can strike the most healthiest of all. And in fact, it's so common that 1 in 4 men at some point in their life would have experienced depression that would have required treatment.
It would take about minimum 7-8 sessions to bring in a change. More about how they can take care of their own well-being by doing little things, and only when it increases, maybe going to a professional is not at all something that's wrong.
I talk to others and tell that you need to talk to professionals. You need to talk whenever it happens. Don't stay silent. That is the mistake you do. Okay, and as men, it's a thing that you shouldn't cry. Okay, definitely that's there. You shouldn't cry. You don't. You cry about a problem. You solve your own problem. Those things are expected, but you should come out of it. That's the thing. Everybody. I mean, it's a human being in the man or woman. You'll have this emotion out for both.
Just want to keep an hope. Death is not a solution for everything. Hope is a solution. Just keep an hope and move on. Come to people, talk to people, and one person will change your life. Please talk to people. You are not alone.
The image that men don't cry seems to be slowly changing, with talk shows focusing on the less focused aspects of men's mental health on social media.
I have felt anxious, I have felt extremely sad, I have felt broken, I have felt all of these things. So yes, I have gone through these portions, and I have also gone through the feeling of feeling bottled.
Celebrated sportspersons opening up about their mental health.
I've gone through a phase in my career where I felt like it was the end of the world. You know, in England 2014, I just didn't know what to do, what to say to anyone, how to speak, how to communicate. You never know how that's taken. And I think what Glenn has done is remarkable. I think these things should be respected and not taken in a negative way at all, which I think can happen to any person.
And lead actors crying on the big screen.
While numbers tell a sad story, young men around us seem to be changing the narrative by shedding the stereotypical strong man image. Remember, men do cry. Humans cry irrespective of their gender. So the next time you high-five a bro and something doesn't seem right, ask them, is everything okay? Because help is available. Help is acceptable. Thanks for watching.